Alright folks, looks like we've got another budget beast sneaking into the retro handheld scene, and this one's making a lot of noise for the price. Meet the Mangmi Air X, a new Android-powered retro handheld that claims to emulate up to Nintendo GameCube and PlayStation 2 titles, all for just $79.99. Yeah, you heard that right. $79 for a device that promises PS2 level performance, gyroscopic controls, and Android 14 right out of the box. Sounds like someone's picking a fight with Anbernic and Retroid, huh? Design and display. So first up, design. The Mangmi Air X goes horizontal, which already gives it a proper console handheld feel. None of that vertical nostalgia box style. You're looking at a 5.5-inch IPS panel pushing 1080p resolution, that's 1920 by 1080 pixels, with about 450 nits of brightness. Pretty crisp for a device at this price, and easily bright enough to game outdoors or under direct light. Now, here's where it gets interesting. That display runs in a 16:9 aspect ratio, which isn't exactly native for most retro consoles that used 4:3, but it works beautifully for systems like PSP, GameCube, and PS2. And yeah, widescreen hacks are your best friend if you want those older games to stretch nicely across that panel. It's a smart balance between classic nostalgia and modern usability. Build quality and controls. At around 203mm wide, 87mm tall, and 17mm thick, this thing feels compact without being cramped. The weight? 286 grams. Not feather light, but still way more portable than your Steam Deck or ROG Ally. What really sells it, though, are the Hall effect joysticks and stacked analog triggers, features we usually see in way pricier handhelds. That means smoother input, zero joystick drift, and a generally more premium feel. And yep, 6-axis gyroscope is on board too. So if you're into motion controls for emulators like Dolphin or Ether SX2, you're covered. Gyro, aiming in Metroid Prime, or twisting your way through Ridge Racer feels shockingly responsive for something under $100. Performance and chipset. Under the hood, Mangmi's gone with the Snapdragon 662 paired with 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM. Now that's not going to rival the Ryzen Z1 or Dimensity 1200 chips you see in $400 plus devices, but it's still a surprisingly capable mid-tier SoC for retro gaming. On Android 14, it handles PlayStation Portable, PSP, emulation at 2x scale easily, and dips into GameCube and even some PS2 titles with decent results. Don't expect every heavy PS2 game to hit full speed, but the lighter ones, totally playable. You're also getting 64GB of eMMC 5.1 storage on board. Not the fastest, but expandable through a microSD card slot, so you can load your entire retro library without sweating about space. Oh, and yes, it's actively cooled. That's right, there's a small cooling fan inside, which keeps those longer emulation sessions stable. Battery life and charging. Powering it all is a 5000 mAh battery, which supports 15-watt wired charging. Mangmi claims you'll get about 5 to 6 hours of mixed gaming, which honestly sounds fair. Given the Snapdragon 662's efficiency and 1080p display, that checks out. Charging via USB-C also makes it super convenient if you're hopping between your phone, earbuds, and this handheld. One cable does it all. And yeah, thermals seem well managed for the size. The fan doesn't sound like a jet engine, and the chassis barely gets warm even when pushing PS2 emulation. For a $75 handheld, that's a big win. Software and UI. Now let's talk about the brains. It runs Android 14, which means full access to the Play Store, streaming apps, and game launchers. So whether you're side-loading RetroArch, Dolphin, or Ether SX2, or even firing up Netflix when you're done gaming, this thing handles it. Android 14 also brings smoother performance and better background process handling, which helps prevent stutters during gameplay. What's missing, though, is a custom launcher. Unlike devices from Retroid or Anbernic, the Air X ships with a pretty stock Android setup. That's good news if you love flexibility, but it means you'll have to tweak your layout and install emulators manually. Still, considering it's an open platform, that's part of the fun. Pricing and availability. All right, the moment of truth, the price. The Mangmi Air X launched at $79.99, but there's a little discount running right now, $74.99 if you're a subscriber. That even includes a case in the box, which is a nice bonus. The price will go up to $89.99 after October 21st. So, if you're even remotely tempted, now's the time to grab one. You can pick it up in 3 colors, and it's already available through their official site. Given how fast these low-cost handhelds sell out, it might not stay that way for long. Comparisons and competition. Now, how does it stack up against rivals? Well, the Anbernic RG476H recently dropped for $189, packing a Unisoc T 820 chipset and a smaller 4.7-inch screen. The Air X doesn't quite reach that performance level, but it's also less than half the price. Meanwhile, the Ioneo Pocket Air Mini is delayed again and will likely cost over $250. So Mangmi's clearly aiming for the budget crowd that wants capable emulation without spending premium money. So, is the Mangmi Air X worth it? Honestly, for under $80, absolutely. You're getting a bright 1080p screen, solid build quality, modern Android 14 support, Hall effect sticks, gyro controls, and enough juice to play through your childhood library up to £2. Sure, it's not going to crush everything you throw at it, but it's more than enough for what it's designed to be, a fun, compact, retro gaming buddy you can toss in your bag. Don't forget to like, sub, and ring the bell so you don't miss my next retro tech breakdown.